Good evening, everybody. I greet every one of you. Good evening, John K. I greet you. Good evening, my dear sister Gachieze. Good evening. You're welcome to my live broadcast. I'm sorry that I came late, Yeah, things didn't work out as I planned, so but thank God I'm here. You're welcome. What do you mean, Eze Chikamsu? What do you mean? What is wrong with you? Good evening, everybody. You're welcome. Good evening, Uzo Ugo. I greet you. Emeka Oji. Good evening, my. Good evening, Charles Jr. I greet you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much also for the stars. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. HS and also I greet you. Thank you. Nwa Adenobi Uche. I greet you. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to this live broadcast. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I greet every one of you once again. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is the 30th of Biafra, 30th of May, and is marking the 53rd year of the declaration of Biafra and all the consequences that came with it. And that's why I'm kind of wearing this camouflage, like here in Germany, we can wear camouflage. It's not a problem. Echezona, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate that. Guys, if you want to send me stars, you are welcome to do so. Thank you so much. So I'm streaming from Blessedom page, so it is only possible on Blessedom page. Good evening, Anthony Obiora. So my people, yeah, 53 years into the Biafra war, and we see that Biafra, at the mention of Biafra, what has it brought to Ndi Igbo? Uncountable loss of lives, nothing else. So when you mention Biafra, you mention, a way to take away life. That has been the reality. Although people, for some reason, attach some kind of hope to it, but the reality is we are experiencing is that when you mention Biafra, what happens is, it takes the life of Ndi Igbo. And for some reason, Biafra wants to take over the identity of Igbo. It's like you are born Igbo, and you have always been Igbo. And then, there was a break, like I was talking about the evolution of Africans, and because of the colonization, there was the abrupt end to our natural evolution. So we stopped evolving in our natural way. Instead, we started learning the ways of life of other people, other civilizations, other, societies, started learning their ways of praying, their ways of everything, their ways of thinking. So, the natural evolution of African, being Nigerian, being Igbo, was kind of stopped in their tracks. So, just like that, the natural development of Ndi Igbo was stopped with the name Biafra. And so Igbo people came from being Igbo. First of all, they were just kind of scattered everywhere, everybody, communities doing their own things. They were not like one nation. And then at the time they were coming together, through the Nigerian state being aligned as one region, as one people, and being seen that all their languages, the dialects are mutually intelligible. So, it's an ethnic nation. Every ethnic nation have the same language but different variations depending on which part of the region you go to. So this is a normal phenomenon with languages. So But what is important is when this one is talking, even though you can't speak that dialect, you can understand it. That's what I mean when I say mutually intelligible. It means, for example, if somebody is speaking Anambra dialect, even though you are not from Anambra, you are from Ebonyi, you can understand the Igbo, the message is saying, you know. And any Igbo dialect, you can't be sold in it. It happens also in Yoruba dialect, it happens in Hausa dialect, it happens with any major language. You understand? Some people mistake dialects for separate language. No, a dialect is just, you know, Oluonye, like Olumba, like, you know, a kind of a variation of a language. You understand? So a language is very broad. So Ndi Igbo were coming together, getting to know themselves as Igbos, you know, getting this momentum, going with this momentum, and then what happened? Biafra happened, and since then, it was as if they were not existing before Biafra. You know, since then they were not existing before Biafra. But today I want to talk about Biafra in another light, as a crime against Ndi Igbo. Because since Biafra happened to Ndi Igbo, what has it brought to them? What has Biafra brought to Ndi Igbo? What has the name Biafra brought to Ndi Igbo? Is there any benefit of that word, that name Biafra, to a people called Igbo before the beginning of that Biafra? You know, Biafra is just something that happened at a phase in the life of Ndi Igbo. It's just like, you know, what happened to the African Americans. First they were Africans, then they were enslaved, and then, you know, they are free, but somehow all they are is being kind of trapped in the time they were being enslaved. And people are looking at them and say they were slaves. They were slaved. No, they were not slaved. They were enslaved. There's a difference. Somebody was taken against his will, forced to do something that he didn't want to do, and if he didn't do it, you know, there were severe consequences. So he was enslaved. He was forced to be, you know. So the people who normally would be the, you know, the slave masters, you know, just say, oh, you are slaves. No, they were never slaves. Before slavery, there was a life. They had a place they were coming from, you see. But what that enslavement did was it robbed them of who they were. It robbed them of the identity that they had. It robbed them of the language that they had. It robbed them of who they used to be. And they have to assume this new identity of people who were enslaved. And in doing so, they have to speak the language of their slave master. They have to talk like the, you know, act. They have to pray to the God of their slave master, you see. So this is, you know, this is just like, in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it. Of course, we may not agree, you know, and I've always said this, you know, what I'm saying here is my opinion entirely. So if I'm saying something, you may not agree with me. And as far as I know, within the circle of my own understanding, this is what I know. You know, it can get bigger, it can get smaller. I am not dogmatic about anything. So when we are calling people dogmatic bingo, it's because they take one opinion and they are dogmatic about it. You know, like, you know, they go about it like dogs. That's why when you remember at a time we used to say bingo was a common name for omonketa. So that's how that, you know, name came about. Because when you are dogmatic about anything, you know, you become a bingo. So we don't only have bingos in Igbo land. It's, you know, it's obtainable everywhere. It's that kind of behavior, that kind of attitude. So when I'm saying Biafra is a crime against Ndi Igbo, what do I mean by it? I mean that Biafra is a crime against Ndi Igbo because the people that brought that name and put it upon Ndi Igbo, they were not truthful about their real intention. They were not truthful. They were not truthful. They know the implications of declaring a secessionist state. I've said this several times. They know very well what they were doing. But the lives of millions of Igbo people did not matter to them. And that's why we are seeing a repeat of it today. The life of Igbo people is not mattering to some people because of their personal gain. They are willing to stand by and watch the land, the people perish, be exterminated, be removed from the face of the earth. So, number one thing to know that Ojukwu know the implication of what they were doing is that before he declared Biafra, he fought Adakaboro that went to declare Niger Delta Republic. He went to defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria. Why? He went to fight Adakaboro. They brought them down. They, judged the case, did a tribunal, and he was sentenced to death for declaring a secessionist state to move out of Nigeria. That is number one. So he knows the implication of declaring that he is seceding from Nigeria. There is no excuse you can. Some people say, because they were doing it, there is no excuse. Because number one, once you stand and declare that you are seceding from any nation, you know what that implies. And the most important thing is that he already took action on that scenario. This man and his men, they were rounded up. They were brutally dealt with. And the leaders summarily finished. And the leader, Adakaboro, was sentenced to death. So you cannot come and tell Ndi Igbo that you did not know that Nigeria was going to attack. Why? Why? That is the first lie. This is why I feel like this is an orchestrated crime against Ndi Igbo. This is an orchestrated crime against Ndi Igbo. Because you know the consequences. Because you carried out that consequence upon somebody that did it under your watch. Under your watch, you were protecting the integrity of Nigeria. And you carried out the duties of somebody in charge of the region to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. And you went after those people who want to secede after Nigeria. Why did he lie and say that they did not know that Nigeria was going to fight for their territory? Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the comments. I don't want to lose my chain of thought, but I'll look later. I'm coming. I want to play one audio for you guys.
We wouldn't have bothered. We never dreamt that Nigeria will attack Biafra. We never. So when we were attacked, we were not ready. If we had known we were going to be attacked, we wouldn't have bothered to go to that extent.
Could you hear the audio, or it's too low? Is it too low? So this is one of the people, the elders who are still alive today. He was saying that they never expected Nigeria was going to fight. That if they knew, that they would not have gone to that extent. For me personally, this is a lie. This is a bold-faced lie. There is no way you can tell me that you did not know that Nigeria was going to come and fight for its territory. You know. Why? Because number one, you are a military man. And number two, as governor of the then Eastern region, you fought somebody that declared to secede from Nigeria. My people, this is the ground upon which I stand to say it was a crime against Ndi Igbo. Good evening. Please, there are people that come and and be hate watching, like where this automatic message for stars, they will be putting anger. Why are you putting anger? You don't want people to send me stars. Why? You feel I don't deserve the stars, then go away. You are not, I did not ask you to send me stars. If you hate my content, you don't have to send me stars. Why do you have to put your hatred on my content? You people are just so full of hate. Please stay away from my content if you don't like it. Stop putting angry sign on my content. Stop putting angry sign on my content. That's very, 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 very bad. I did not ask you. If you know you don't, this is for people who appreciate me to send me stars. It's not for you that hate it. And then you will not go and be putting hate sign on the automatic link. Why? This is very, very bad. I know that you people are Ndi Igbo with your leader Onye Igbo. All you do is to kill people and cause carnage. You don't want to reorientate yourself. You don't want to learn a new thing. Stay away from my content. I did not ask you to send me stars if you hate my content. It's very logical. If you don't like my content, don't send me stars. Don't support me. It's very simple like that. So, my people, I don't know if I should replay this audio because I feel it was low when I played it.
July, we never dreamt that Nigeria will attack Biafra. We never. So when we were attacked, we were not ready. If we had known we were going to be attacked, we wouldn't have bothered to go to that extent.
So he went on to say many other things, you know. So I'm going, his name is Major General AlexMadiebo at the time. So he was one of the people that handled the artillery stuff, you know. He made a lot of revealing things in this book. And he made us to understand that at the time that Ojukwu was declaring for secession from Nigeria, he didn't have any army. Nothing was ready. And he knew nothing was going on, but he was still adamant. He was still pumped up to go and fight. He did not have any support. There was no ground war. And the worst part is there were no army. The people were just used as cannon fodder because they had no training. Imagine military men that even went through military training of months. Like, at least, if you want somebody to perform well as a military officer, at least give him minimum of 6 months training. 6 months training. Minimum. But of course, you can train somebody for 2 days, 3 days, for 5 weeks, 3 weeks. You know, you cannot compare that person with somebody that was trained. You are sending that person that you train for 2 days, for 3 weeks, to go and face a professional that was trained in that operation in different ways, in different maneuvers for years and months. Of course, you know that you were sending those people to a certain dent because the experience they are going to have is on the front line. And the answer is always, you know, that you are sending them away from this earth. And this is something that somebody deliberately did. Deliberately did. And he knows the implication of what he was doing. So Biafra was a crime against Ndi Igbo, and this crime was perpetrated by Ojukwu and his core people who organized this crime against Ndi Igbo. And till today, Ndi Igbo have not recovered from that crime. And till today, Ndi Igbo feel like They have no existence outside of Biafra. Like their only existence is in Biafra. Even though Biafra has no history, even though Biafra has no people, even though Biafra has no history of a people, of a culture, of a place, of a physical space on this earth, but they are willing to offer themselves to this crime against them, because it has not manifested to the full effect of what it was meant to do. And that is why when you see people who elevate the people that bring destruction, you begin to ask yourself, what happened? What happened? Because there was a disruption in their evolution. Before this Biafra, there was Igbo people, in military, in all fears of military. But because of this Biafra, everything was thrown away. Everything was thrown away. At some point, you have to appreciate and accept your own fault, your own part, the own role you played. Had Ironsi not removed the constitution and brought in his Supreme Council, what did they call it now? Supreme Military Council, he did away with the constitution that the British left, and he brought in the Supreme Military Council. And and at that time it was okay for a lot of these men. They did not protest it. It was when Ironsi was killed that they now realized all that was wrong with that Supreme Council draft of a constitution. At some point, you have to sit back and realize you goofed, or your leaders goofed, and calm down and allow things to settle down, and work from within and grow yourself back, not putting yourself up for more harm, setting yourself up for more harm. Some people think that because time has passed, because in 1960, maybe they didn't have the technology. What technology do you have today? What defense system do you have today? Do you have food security today? What is the difference that you have, that you are blowing? You want to go for a war again in the name of Biafra? You are agitating. You say you don't want, and there will be no election, there will be no anything, there will be all over the place, threatening people, mobbing people, taking out people, destroying lives, destroying your region. The people who perished in Biafra, they were not heroes, they were victims. They were used as cannon folders, because the military people in charge who wanted to fight this war, they know what they were doing. They were setting the people up, and they knew. They tried to stop them. Everybody that tried to stop them, everybody that tried to be rational was tagged the saboteur. Like today, somebody told me that in their village, the people that spoke against this thing, that said, what are they doing this thing, they will gather all of them, put them in the ground when they are still alive. It's a crime against Ndi Igbo. And when Ndi Igbo realize that this Biafra is a crime, it's an abruption, and remove it so that they can continue their normal existence as Ndi Igbo, and build on their culture, build on their region, build on their language, develop the place first of all as an ethnic nationality first. You don't have it. You don't have an ethnic nationality now. For example, Nigeria split the region into states, and people are functioning aggressively with that state. There is no regional purpose. There is no regional interest. Regional interest, as far Southeast regional interest, you don't have it. You don't have anything regional. Like, for example, in the Southwest, they have Odua group of companies, Odua something, like they always go with some kind of regional. Of course, there are you know, there are small things that go on in between, but at the end there is still some kind of regional interest. Why don't you remove this Biafra and focus on who you really are? Because if you search the history books, you will not find any history about who these Biafra people were. And the place in the map, in the ancient map, where you find this Biafra is not even within the geographical location that is Nigeria today. If you look at that ancient map and you trace the locality of that Biafra, you will see that it is not even within the geographical space that is Nigeria today. But above all, you have a culture, you have a language, you have, more importantly, a space on the surface of this earth where you can stand and say, this is Igb0, this is your own. So Biafra doesn't have any of these things. That is why some people say, oh, they are Jewish, so they can go to Jewish land, you know, they can go to Israel, they came from Israel. You know, people just make all kinds of projections on the people, and you know, using emotional chips. It's not going to go anywhere. Think about the people that perished because of Biafra. Think about if those people were alive today. Think about if all those things, for example, what if that first coup never happened? Okay, let's assume there was a coup among the military, and you took out the military leaders, something like that. Why did you have to go and take out the Saldana? The Saldana was a local regional leader. He was not a politician. He was not in the military. Wow, like, you have to calm down. You don't have what it takes. You didn't have what it takes that time. Like, you hear this man say they did not know that Nigeria. They know, because they know what they did to Ada Kaboro and his men. Good evening, live to see. If you say Nigeria is a crime against humanity, what will you call America? What will you call America? Do you know how many years? Do you know what it means to be a slave? That your generation, your children, like the enslaved people for generations upon generation upon generation, and they are still standing today as the strongest country. Sometimes you even ask yourself, like, where, on what moral ground are they even standing to be saying that they are the police of the world? Because on all fronts they failed. They failed. But how can you, like, you know, when I remember there's this Muslim man, and he was having an interview with I've forgotten the name of this man. He's an American. He's a black American, and because of all this oppression, they changed to Islam, and they became Muslims. And he has a large following. He teaches the men. You know, he's trying to bring them up. You know, he's trying to you know, hold this section of men, and they are having community. I've forgotten his name. If somebody remember this man's name, tell me. So he was in an interview, and they asked him. They asked him, he was saying that Nigeria, he was making a commentary that Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world, you know. And this man replied him and said, how dare you say Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world? And he said, what do you mean by that? He said, then if Nigeria is not the worst country, it's not the most corrupt country in the world, which country is the most corrupt country in the world? And this Muslim man, not Malcolm, his follower, Nation of Islam, thank you, the leader of that Nation of Islam. So the man told him that I'm looking at one, and that I live in one, I live in one. He was explaining it to him, you know. And it's surprising to me, because I see our people that live in the USA. You know, it's like what I'm saying, that they remove themselves from the happenings. Somehow they feel like they live in a cocoon, like they are so special. They are not black Americans, you know. They come in, they are professionals, you know. they work, they can earn a good living, live in any neighborhood they want, and, because they don't understand that they were only able to come and do that because the black Americans have been fighting all their lives. They fought to be able to sit in a bus, in a public bus. Normally they will stand at the back. When you hear Rosa Parks, it was one of the person that fought against it. That's why, like, she's not the first person, but she's the person that really gained traction because she mobilized. Because of her, a lot of people were mobilized to trek. They were not using more, public buses again. They were walking, and they were losing money. Yeah, in America, if you want to go to the grocery, they couldn't go to the market and buy what they want. They will have to stand at the back. Anything that the people don't want, the Igbo don't want, they will not from back give it to them. You don't have any choice. Oppression. But you live in that country, you don't want to, or you learn it, or you know, but you are projecting something else to the people at home, the people you're supposed to educate, the people you're supposed to use your experience there and elevate and build internally. Thank you, Johanna. Louis Farrakhan, thank you. His name is Louis Farrakhan. I'll listen to that. My brother, let me finish. I'll allow Colin. I will, I'll look for that that interview and I'll post it in my Blessedom WhatsApp group. So it is very easy to say Nigeria is a crime against humanity. What about Germany? What about Germany? This country that we are living in, do you know what they did? Do you know what they mean? They have gone to Namibia. This thing that they did to Jewish people that everybody's talking, the first one they did it in Africa, in Namibia. Nobody even know how many million they buy there. They say all those are they want to go and create a room, Lebensraum. They did it. So which country are you going to say is the angel? Where? Everything you have to build it. Yeah, it's painful. You lost your place. You lost your place. It's painful. It's unfortunate that, it's like what happened to Haman. Oh, Lulu Iguru, you fall into it by yourself. Because imagine if you never tampered with that constitution to go and change it to military, supreme. That's why when I see this word supreme, my head would just raise up. Supreme, hey, supreme leader, hey, supreme, hey. Supreme military council, supreme leader, supreme this. So, my people, Biafra is a crime against Ndi Igbo. And when Ndi Igbo realize that this name is being used to target at them and what they can be as who they are, and let put it aside and accept the failures, accept your fault, accept your fault, stop projecting your fault on others, because you laid the foundation. You laid the foundation. You have to accept that, because if the region was working, it was good, why did you change it? Why did you change it? Nobody has answered that question. Why did you have to change it? Because it was not working. To you that you are clamoring today, it was not working for you. You had the powers. You could have left it as it is. You were in the center. You were in the you were everywhere. You still had the region. Why did you have to remove the regions? Why? We have to realize that the role our forebears played, that is what we are suffering today. So they put in all these emotional chips, and you just eat the chips and you don't realize what has happened before. See this mumu. He say, Madam, get the right. You don't have the right to reference. Did America enslave black Americans, or did they not enslave black Americans? For how many years were they enslaved? All their labor in vain for nothing. They were not paid it down. Is that one fact or not? One bingo. That name Biafra is a spell on Ndi Igbo to destroy her. To destroy her because of her potential. Because ever since they brought that name, Igbo people have been stagnant, going in a circle. Biafra, Biafra, Biafra. What is Biafra? Nobody knows. Where is Biafra? Nobody knows. Who are the people of Biafra? Nobody knows. Where is Biafra located? Nobody knows. Nobody can pinpoint anywhere where their Biafra is. Nobody can pinpoint what language they spoke in Biafra. Nobody can pinpoint what economy was the economy of Biafra. Nobody can pinpoint who were the rulers, who were the people. Biafra. And you want to use Biafra to destroy an ancient people. An ancient people that are indigenous on this space. And because of Biafra, you bring a concoction of stories, unfounded stories, and mispronounce some kind of Hebrew words, and then you say they are Jewish. You have to realize what happened to the black Americans. They took them away from Africa. They removed their identity from them. They removed their language from them. Now they are in the middle of nowhere. They live in a predominantly European country, and they cannot be European, and they cannot be African. They have lost touch. They don't have the African language. What is happening to Ndi Igbo? You have the language, you can't even develop it. You can't develop your language. You don't know that your language is the foundation of everything you are looking for. You don't know that you have to develop your language, make it to be up to date, have institutions that work on the language, write science in your language. You don't know that the beginning of everything is language, and you are going around Biafra speaking English, declaring secession with English language. So because you want to tell the people who get English language, say you don't come go school for their country, don't sabi their language, abi? Many people don't realize that Amer has no moral ground to even say, yeah, do good. Amer has no moral ground. Many people, they live there, they don't realize it. Some people, because you were able to go there and become something, you forgot that it was people that fought for it. Do you know that normally as a black man, if you are walking on the street and you see Oyibo, you will stop, you will go to one corner and you wait until they pass as a black man on the road in America for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years? Do you know that at the beginning, American Constitution did not consider a black man like you, say you be complete woman being. They say you be 3/5. They did not consider. They say you are 3/5 of a man. So if you won't come give, for example, say something happen, you won't come give evidence for court as this person where you be. Una go be two. Now 2 man or 3 man word, now they go take add to 1 person. And in order to justify the evil of that slavery where they do, they are now projecting it onto the black people that they are the ones that are bad, that they are the ones that are this. Instead of them to accept that we did wrong. That's why they have never been they never even tell them sorry before. They never tell them, so they go say, no be we do now, and our, do you know what it means that you go and take somebody and he walk, even let's assume he live 100 years, he will never own anything, he's a property. Do you know they put them in the market and somebody will come and choose the women? They will remove their clothes, they will be pressing, they will buy them as goods, take them to their house, like as if they go buy goats in the America. But today, the person that is Igbo that live in America, he will open his mouth and say Nigeria is a crime against humanity. Nigeria is still evolving as a state. It's still looking for its grounds. It has been abrupted. First of all, the people of Nigeria are different ethnicity, different nationalities, going about their way. There is no nation that is a monogeneous people from beginning. It was always a bringing together, but unfortunately for us, it happened with an external force. But the more we are living together, the more entangled we become. But the good thing is, every ethnic nationality in Nigeria still have their ancestral regions to themselves. It doesn't, whether it's 1 kilometer or 10 kilometer, every ethnic nationality within Nigeria still have a place in Nigeria they can call my homeland, my ancestral land. The state of Nigeria have not robbed us of that. In other states, they have robbed people of that. So you cannot say, I'm from this, I'm from Ekulobi, I am from Nnewi, I am from Isuochi, I am from this. You cannot say that, for example, if you go to South Africa, because they remove all the people from the villages and turn all the villages to mass farm like this. What has happened to us is a very tragic something. But we are not supposed to repeat it. We are not supposed to repeat it. As a matter of fact, we are supposed to learn from it. We are supposed to learn from it. And if we are able to learn and make the right deductions, you don't have to come out and be crying and, you have to go in and work for whatever you want. Just like everybody is, like you go to America, many of you in America, you look down on those black Americans, in spite of all what they have been through. Even though they are, like, do you know, that's why most of them live in inner cities. They can't go to the suburbs. Most of the time, it's the Igbo people that take over all those suburbs that will now look like their village, their countryside, where they have land, they do agriculture, they may live on land and they will not pay rent and all. They don't have all those luxury. That's why most of the time you see them in inner cities. It's those ones that manage to break out, the few that manage to break out, that you will see. And even when they when they go into all these communities, that's why most of the time you see gated communities, because they don't want. They will have gated communities. They don't want all these things. Even though you come to deliver something, they harass you. Because the thing still dead the body, Of course, not all. Of course, there's a lot of improvement, but, if you look, their legal system, like according to statistics, they say that the number of people waiting inside prison today is even more than the number of people waiting use those slave. According to the statistics, no be me do am. According to, I think I read a newspaper one time here in Germany, and they were writing about it. It's called mass incarceration. You be small pikin, 14 years, you do something, life jail. They no one know. They go say judge am as an adult. You live there, but you never come out and say, oh, that place is a crime against humanity. Nigeria is still evolving. And what is failing in Nigeria is the mind. The mind of Nigerians have not been developed. The mind of Nigeria is following the colonial mentality. The colonial mentality came to take. And so the leaders go there to take. They forget that they are not colonial master. They don't know that they don't have Europe that they want to go. They don't know that they are African people. They have to stay in Africa and be proud of Africa and develop Africa and make it home. They think they are European people. So that's why they will steal all the money. They want to go to Dubai to go and build house. You know, so other people understood all these things. We are not the only ones that were colonized as black people. We are not the only ones. Even Chinese people were colonized. Chinese people even had a civilization that was more superior, but they even colonized. They conquered them and colonized them. That's why you hear Songhai. This Shanghai is Songhai. When we are reading it, Songhai Empire. Because they went there, British people, they went there, they took over that place. Wait till they take their eyes see. You know? So at the end of the day, if African people don't develop Africa, it doesn't matter whether you are Igbo, it doesn't matter whether you're Yoruba, it doesn't matter. You know, a lot of people, they make this allusion that when Biafra come, when Biafra come, you know, if Biafra wants to come, you have to be seeing it now in Igbo land. You have to be seeing it now in Igbo land. For example, you cannot see somebody that is not from Anambra State and he will not come and become a councillor in Anambra. It's not going to happen. You cannot see somebody that's from not. For example, when they were castigating Okorosha, they said his mother, he's not from. His father is an outsider. You know that he's an impostor, all that kind of a thing. You know, so all the time they say something like that. They will say, you know, you cannot be here. You are not from here. You are not from here. And it's not only in Nigeria. Across Africa, it's the same thing. Like what happened in Cote d'Ivoire, was it Cote d'Ivoire, this Quatara and this thing that they, you know, had to burst into his house. It was still that he's not from here. He's not, every time you are not from here, you are not from here, you know. We have not evolved out of that. We have not evolved out of that. For example, German people, they were not one people before. It was, you know, this is the Fourth Republic now. They were not one people. That's why if you still go in different parts, they have different names. They call some certain things, the dialect variations, the lifestyle. You know, they were not one people before. It was somebody that put them together. The same way, if you look at these mega countries like China, they are not one people, you know. It was somebody that put them together and, you know, brought the language and, you know, because when you have a massive population and you have a massive landscape, it's always to an advantage. It's always to an advantage, and everything you need in resource, naturally you have it. In human resources, you have it. It's just for you to put in the work to develop it. But you cannot develop it when you have colonial mentality. In the southeast, we have the European colonial mentality. In the north, they have the Arab colonial mentality. So according to the people you experience as your own colonial force that came and disrupted your own evolution, that is the mentality you absorb. That's why if you look at northern Nigeria, they are behaving as if they are Arab people, but they are not, because when you get to Arab, you realize that they don't see you as one of them. Like our people, we like to do like we are English Igbo, English black British people who speak British, dress British, you know, church European. And because of as a result of this mentality, we act that we are superior to one another. And outsiders will be looking at us, they will be laughing at us. Thank you. I'm not credible. I call you Mumu because instead of you to say no, you did not say this thing. You want to disprove what I'm saying. Maybe you will say exactly what I said that is not correct. You just want to come and attack me. Say it, because you don't accept what I'm saying. Because for you, you don't see that Biafra is a crime against Ndi Igbo. Because somebody like you now is still looking at Biafra as the only solution. The only solution, but your village is still looking the same way. You are still practicing the same culture that your forefathers practiced 1,000 years ago. If anybody wants to bring any evolution, you say, no, this is our omenala, this is our culture. But somehow, magically, there will be ta-na-na-na, and then Biafra comes and everything will just change. Like you will just overnight, you become another human being. You don't have to stay in this stream if you don't accept what I'm saying. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Citizen Yoha. Thank you for the stars. Thank you. I appreciate that. Biafra is a Portuguese name. It's not anything to do with Ndi Igbo. Tell me how people who are knowledgeable, I admit at some point we may, say, oh, think, but today, by the grace of God, we have the internet. Why don't you search? Look for example, if you look for the history of the people of Zamfara, the history is there. You will see, now you go read, now you go tie, and you will even enjoy some, But there is no history about the people of Biafra. But you are so intent to use Igbo people to replace Biafra that did not exist. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? You want to use the name of a people that is not existing. You want to use people that are existing to replace a name that is not in existence. Hello?
Hello, good day, my sister.
Hello, good day.
Really want to appreciate you for always trying to act at a right time to see liberate the mindsets, not only for the Southeast people, but for the non-minimum Nigerians, so to say. Sometimes if I sit down to think about all these things that are doing in Southeast, someone will just say that all Igbos are the same. Now, the purpose of life of you,
I don't know. Just a second. The audio is not coming out well. Wait. I'm coming. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay. I said, if not the privilege that the life people like us are friends with you people and like Aguiyi, and you, someone would just wake up and say that all Igbos are the same, but I am really happy that the likes of you are always trying to see liberate the mindset of the people of Southeast. That is that. Coming to the topic of the day, I really thank God Almighty that we are not bad students of history. Whenever you have a teacher in the class and it happens to be giving you wrong information about what he's teaching you, you tend to carry it up to your next layer generation or next level of education.
Yeah.
If, for example, a teacher said that 2 plus 2 is 7, you will hold that 7 into your memory, and you can even argue it with someone that this is what my teacher said to me when I was in primary school, that 2 plus 2 is 7. But you have a real teacher that tells you the truth when you're young,
Yeah.
or you're in the young age, you will tend to use it in your memory. So we are not a student of history of what happened. I always tell these bingos, the first thing that they ought to do is to sit down, research about this name. What is the meaning of Biafra? That is number 1. Where is this Biafra located? That is number 2. How does this Biafra name of a thing come into being? That is number 3. Then number 4 question you have to ask, they ought to ask themselves as reasonable people is, what have we achieved since the inception of the name Biafra when Ojukwu bring it to us, to our people? What have we achieved in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economy, in terms of so many things? What were we able to achieve? Nothing. Only killing and sorrows. And at the same time, what will baffle you or make you angry? Somebody who leads so many or millions of people to go and die, and later on run away with his family. So people still call him a hero. It's very unfortunate. That is why some people still have this emotion.
Yeah.
Whenever you call Biafra, they tend to react. That is that. Number 2, Mr. Blessedom. After Ojukwu have left, he came back to join the politics of Nigeria. Owaziriki came with his own. How many people died under Owaziriki? What was the achievement he brought to Igbo land? Nothing. But only killing and sorrow. The last, this guy, this criminal imitation, Kanu, came with his own Biafra. Also, nothing but killing and sorrow. He has promised them Biafra, time to that number, and no one can sit down to ask him a question. Oga, please, you said Biafra is coming by 2014. Where is this Biafra? No questioning. Number second, you said in December that Elohim, if you do not give them Biafra in 2022 December, Elohim did not send you. And yet he will be shouting or ranting on social media, and he will be calling the same Elohim. Why can't you question him? You said that if you did not give them Biafra on 2020, Elohim did not send you. Stop calling Elohim. They cannot ask him this question. And at the same time, they will be calling him our Savior. How? How? Lastly, before I go, they will always say that I want to be free. I seem to understand or be confused about this word. Free from what? Mr. Blessedom, are you aware that in many states of the north, there are so many private schools that are scattered within the north and are owned by Igbo people? Nobody has ever harassed them or asked them to pack or close that school. They are enjoying their life with their children there. If I can give you an example, in Bauchi State, there is particular street, particular street, is all owned by Igbo people. In Kano, there is Sabongari, in Yola, same thing, in Meduguri, in Kaduna. Nobody have ever harassed them and said, you pack from north and go back to your state. But at the same time, you will be shouting on social media, Fulani, this is the person that used to backforce me. Fulani are coming to capture our lands. How many kilometers remain for Fulani to be to southeast? I believe a drive from northeast to Biafra land is not up to 14 hours or 16 hours. But since 2016 or 2017, Kano has been shouting that Fulani are coming. When are they going to reach the southeast? Can you see the brainwash? And all these things, people cannot sit down, digress, ask questions. And what will make you angry is that the elders will be coming out on social media and be supporting this nonsense. And when tomorrow is war broke out in North now, they will be complaining that they are killing us. Can you see the brainwash?
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. Because
God Almighty bless you and protect you.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. You know, what this brother is saying is can also be called a projection. You know, like our brother wrote, stop projecting your misery on others. That is actually what is happening, because they are projecting, actually, like, it's a subconscious. I don't know, sometimes it can be active projection. Can be maybe somebody is actively wanting to do something, you know, machinization, like what they do with propaganda, you know, change the narrative, something like, you know, project something else. But sometimes it's just like subconscious, you know, like you don't realize that you are projecting who you are or what you are thinking to others, you know, because somebody that is a thief now, you know, and he swindles people and does all those kind of things. So if he's dealing with you, he's going to be looking at you like a thief, like you're going to swindle him, because that is who he is, and he's projecting it onto you. But you may not know where that is coming from. And I'm thinking this is what is happening, because right from time we have been everywhere. We are in Lagos, we are in Akure, we are in Ondo, we are in Ibadan, you know, we are in the north, we're everywhere, you know. And so maybe we are projecting that oh, they're coming to take over our land. That's what you are doing actively, you know, because it's like you are projecting your subconsciousness into other people and say they're coming to take over our land. Meanwhile, you are the one living in other people's space. So you will now be projecting it and say, oh, they want to come and take over our land. Are you taking over other people's land where you are living? And you know, sometimes there's this also this notion that, oh, without Igbo people there will be no Nigeria. Without Igbo people, Nigeria people will not progress. Oh, you know, like, so one time there was a holiday in Lagos, you know, during the Christmas period, and most people traveled, and somebody was driving, and the road was free. It was like, see it, you see it, without Lagos, without Igbos, there'll be no Lagos, you know, look at it, you know, and he was boasting about it, and I was like wondering, like, where is this mindset coming from, you know? Does Lagos need you, or you need Lagos? Like, you know, put it in perspective. If you don't come to Lagos, do you know what it means? It means Yoruba people in Ogun, in this, they can easily have access to Lagos. They can easily afford, because the population makes everything higher, you know, and the city will adjust in your absence, you know, and the people will adjust. Life goes on. But you need to come to Lagos. If you went back and you were prevented from coming to Lagos, what is going to be your fate? That's the, you know, that's, you know, you're supposed to turn it around. You know, this projection is what people say in Nigeria, say change her for her, change her for, go change her for her now, because they change her for, you know, change her. You live, you are in the seat now, you carry your leg come off from the east, they go Lagos, they go Kano. And you know, don't say because it's because of the civil war. No, even before the war, even before the war, you were in Lagos, you were in Kanuna, you were everywhere in the civil service, you know, before the war. So you have to be thinking, even in Cameroon, you were everywhere, you know, before these Ambazonian people, they are fighting to leave Ambazonia. They used to be Southeast Nigeria. They used to be Southeast Nigeria. They didn't want to share the same space with Igbo people, and they, you know, they voted for a place visa to leave Nigeria. They don't want to be. They would rather be a southern Cameroon where they speak English and be Cameroon than be in Nigeria where everybody speak English and remain in the Southeast. But today, who is fighting to leave Cameroon? Be careful what you want. They you know, once they open their eye, koro with full chest, enter. Now, no way out. They are in a limbo for the past how many months now? Southern Cameroon, more than 5 years now. No school, nothing is going on there. It's a war zone. It's a conflict zone. Nothing. Nobody is even talking about it. That is the worst. It is of no relevance to anybody. It's of no relevance to anybody whatsoever. And if you look at even, how can it be of relevance to anybody? Even Ukraine, that is of importance to Amer and the whole world, how are they faring? Do you know how many men they are losing every day? As we are talking in the Donetsk region, it they happen for there. It they happen, pok, 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 pok. You know, sometimes you have to look into the fact, the reality on ground, not whether you are right or who is right. You know, like Igbo people will say, onye ka mmadụ na-egbu ya. Onye ka mmadụ, who pass you. And it's written in the Bible. It said, and I saw affliction. I think, where is that thing written? In Ecclesiastes. I used to like the book of Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 1. Let me look it up. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 1. I think I will close with this because I don't want the video to get too long so that we don't lose the message. Chapter 1. Chapter 4. 4 verse 1, I'm very sure. 4 verse 1. Yeah, exactly. 4 verse 1. It says, again, and I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressor, and they have no comforter. You know, so this verse is deep. It's deep. It's telling you that who pass you, pass you. It doesn't matter whether you are right or you're wrong. The Americans were able to enslave black Africans in all the evil in it, in all the cries and the sorrow. But what? Power was on the side of the oppression. I think when I read it that time, I read it on my King James version. King James version. King James version says, so I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. So it doesn't matter whether you are if you pass it, pass it, he pass it. If you say the person no pass it, you go the challenge, you go collect. That is what is happening to Ukraine. Ukraine, they are in their right. They did their own. You can say, okay, they have the right, to decide where they want to align. But the person will pass you say, now like this I want her more. Now like this I want her. I don't want make you join, just they neutral. They neutral. You say no. You won't show yourself. You see? It's not a matter of who is right or who is wrong. It's a matter of who have the power. Who have the power. America had the power. That is why they went to Japan that day, then dropped nuclear bomb that took thousands of people in one drop. Boom. Imagine something you drop like this, over 50,000 people. One drop within seconds. They have the power. You can't. Do you know when America was telling Saddam Hussein that they were going to invade, he didn't understand what was happening. There is a lot of injustice going on in this world. But don't bring it on yourself. Know your place. Onye ka mmadụ ka chi ya, I'm telling you, onye ka gị, ọ kakwa gị o. Onye ji ike, ọ kakwa gị o. The person will pass you, pass you. Now for motivational speaking, they say, or maybe Nollywood, they can't say, nah. If it they work like that, that is why they have all these courts. But by the time you will not be going to court or doing all these things, who don't finish. Who they don't destroy, they don't destroy. That is why you have to see this Biafra for what it is. It brought a stop to the natural evolution of Ndi Igbo. And if you look at it, other regions are progressing. But Igbos are stuck in 1960. And because of the trauma, the post-traumatic war experience, they want to repeat it. They want to relive it. Because they are traumatized. They can't accept it. And if you can't accept it, you will repeat it. They say those who don't learn from their history, they will repeat it. Because they didn't learn anything. If you leave all these old men, all these people that have taught their children all the pain, and those ones are afflicted and they are carrying pain up and down, you will repeat it though, and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. You may come here and insult me and say, one Nigeria. Okay, two Nigeria. Now there you go there. Biafra is a crime against Ndi Igbo. Ever since this name from nowhere came and want to take over the identity of Ndi Igbo. Imagine that they will now want to measure your Igbo-ness by how you agree with something that brought death and destruction. Imagine. It should be the other way around. We're supposed to measure who is Igbo by recognizing the calamity that Biafra is. But they change it for us. They are projecting something else for us. They change it for us. Say, now who accept death and destruction and commotion and displacement? Now be Igbo. And who say no, make we maintain our Igbo and make we build on our Igbo identity, make we develop our Igbo land. They go say, you not be true son of Igbo. You see how they project it on us? They are changing it for us. But thank God we have the simple ability. I know I don't have many people that follow me or many people that listen to me. And I know that what I'm saying is very unpopular. But what I'm saying is a seed. I'm sowing it today and God sees my heart. That what I'm doing is out of love. Out of love for my motherland and my fatherland. Why? Because I had the privilege to live in my village, at a very young age. So I am passionate about the Igbo people, the Igbo land, and I will not, even though I may not step my foot there for the rest of my days, but I will want it to remain there for posterity's sake. There are so many people of African descent who are displaced in the diaspora, in Europe, in America, in Asia, who are looking and longing for a place to call home. We can make them come home to Igbo land. If we create the opportunity, we create the environment. There are so many people who are longing to have a foothold on the motherland. We have Igbo people running Igbo land. So if they choose to take all the resources of Igbo people, go and buy house in Dubai, go and buy car and buy shoe, you know, great things start from small beginning. You have to do away with something that has come to destroy you and remove your natural identity from you and impose an identity that you don't even know where it's coming from. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know where it's coming from. That is the brutal thing. A lot of people say, oh, we are. No, we are not Biafrans. We are Ndi Igbo. We are Ndi Igbo. You will never see any other African people trying to escape who they are. I did a video on my YouTube channel where I explained 5 simple reasons why Igbo people are not Jews. You need to see how they are attacking me on that video, crying. And some diasporans, when they see that video, they wonder, like, why is being Igbo not enough? Like, why? Why is being Igbo not enough? Nobody can understand it. Because Igbo people were disrupted and traumatized with Biafra. And they are suffering from post-Biafra traumatic experience. And some people are desperate to relieve it. They want it, you know, they are thinking that because they are having all these emotional chips and they feel oppressed, that they can use it somehow and, you know, get hold of anybody. But remember, the power is not in your hands. You don't have what it takes. You don't have what it takes. And there's a saying also in Igbo language that Nwata Magi, there's a, how did they say that? Like Nwata eto juo ihe gburu nna ya, ihe gburu nna ya egbuo ya. There's a different way they also say that Nwata gara ichu mmiri na mmiri riri nna ya, something like that. I don't know. I'm missing it up. You know, it's been long, guys. You know, I'm trying. So, you know, they normally say, like, if you want to go and go to the water where, you know, that carried, you know, that drowned your father, you know, and you are not grown enough. The same way it carried your father, it can carry you. And there's nothing will happen. Life goes on. Life goes on. So if you look at all this East African, South, yeah, like if you look at Algeria, you look at even Sudan, you look at Egypt, you know, there used to be black African people that were living there. They were displaced. And today, the remnants of the African population, they are just in one corner. You know, it's just a matter of time. Those ones, they will be completely eliminated. They will just leave them on the fringes. That's what happens, and life goes on. Before you know it, another people will take over the place and become their place. So what Kano is doing, and what people don't realize, is when you make a place conflict zone, anything can begin. Like, you know, you lay the foundation for conflict. You lay the so everywhere, every point is a point of entry. Everybody can pass through any part of the region and come and perpetuate conflict, because you already enabled, you already made it possible. Because when he says he's going to burn down this, he's going to destroy this, you know he doesn't have what it takes. He can't cross Asaba. So where is he going to do that? It's in your homeland. So my people, enough said. Thank you so much. I don't know if any other person wants to contribute. Biafra, from my observation, from what I have seen, is a crime against Ndi Igbo. And this crime was perpetrated by Ojukwu, the person you raised and call him your father, and you put up a pillar and a monument in the name of the person that brought millions of death upon your soil, destroyed so many destinies and families, traumatized generations, but you say he's your savior, you raise him high, and you are wondering that people are coming out in his image. Yeah, it's an unpopular opinion. I know that very well. I know that very well, that it's a very unpopular opinion. But there is no way Ojukwu will say that he did not know Nigeria was going to come and fight for the territory that he's declaring to secede. Because under his watch, another person declared to secede, and he went and fought that person on behalf of the Nigerian integrity so that Nigeria will remain one. So he cannot say he did not know the implication of what he was doing. You know, I don't argue with people that have a beautiful, like, I say it as it is, you know. I say it as it is. This brother is saying, Madam, if Farrakhan is your source of USA affairs, means that you will never understand USA, because what Nnamdi Kanu is to Ndi Igbo is what Farrakhan is to USA and Christians. That's why I suggest that you get your facts right about USA first before referencing the USA in your broadcast about Biafra and Nnamdi Kanu. No, Nnamdi Kanu is not the same with Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan has never said he's going to burn down the USA, he's going to raise it down. There's nothing that will come out of it. He can't do that even. If he did that, he will not be around, standing around in the US and having those gatherings. He can't. Louis Farrakhan is coming on the heels of all the oppression that the black people have experienced. Those experiences is not equivalent to what Igbo people have in Nigeria. What Igbo people are going through is what they brought upon themselves, what our forebears brought upon also in Nigeria. They laid the foundation for what we are going, whatever it is we are going through. We are not satisfied that the thing that we wanted to do with Nigeria was changed for us. That is just it. Because the British left a constitution, we are supposed to work with it. Everybody was in the region, but it was some Igbo people who want to claim that they know too much that went to tamper with that document and changed it and took out military officers. And it's not enough. You now went to a traditional ruler that was not a military person, that was not in government, or that was not a politician, and take him out and his family. So it is not the same, okay? I know whereof I speak. It's not the same. So Louis Farrakhan can never challenge the Nigerian, the American state to a fight. He can't. He only preaches the injustice that they have done, and teaching the young men and the young women knew how to go about their life, how to reorientate, how to live with their wives, you know, like he's just like a motivational speaker, if you may. He has built a community, and people come there and learn. He wants a stable black community, stable black family. That is what he's about. That is what Louis Farrakhan is about. Louis Farrakhan can never utter a word of war against America, because they will swoop on him so fast, the FBI, he will not even realize what happened to him. So stop putting two things together. What is the oppression Igbo people are suffering today? Even during when we were children, when military administration was running, when you have maybe northerners in the south, all the military administration that ruled Igbo land were Igbo sons and daughters. We are Igbo sons and daughters. Even in this country, Germany, Nnamdi Kanu cannot stand up. In this country, upon what minorities are going through, Nnamdi Kanu cannot come here and be saying this kind of thing against the state. He cannot try it. Because this country, they have lived through exactly what Kanu is projecting Ndi Igbo up for. Because somebody just rose up and said, all your problem is Jewish people. If you just kill all these Jewish people, you will not have problem again. If you are owing money, who are you owing? Jewish people. They are the ones that own all the bank. So let us kill all the Jewish people. They are not even human beings. They are cockroaches. They started to kill everybody. They did not kill only Jewish people. Black people, mixed people, Sikh people, Roma people, everybody. Do you know the crime they committed here? That is why if you come here and give the sign of Hitler, your own is finished. And there's anybody that can corroborate that, or there's evidence. It's only Igbo people don't understand the depth of the crime that Ojukwu committed against them. That is why they are still projecting him as their God, as their savior, as Nani Ojukwu. No. No. So we have to realize that Biafra is a setup. It is not who we are. We that accept that we are Igbo people, we are the one that's supposed to change it for them. We are the one supposed to measure your Igbo-ness. Because once you say you are Biafra, then you cease to be Igbo. We are not supposed to be seeing you as Igbo again. It's not the other way around. You are not going to be using a foreign, a strange ideology, a strange identity to come and weigh our natural identity and say, oh, you are not Igbo. If you don't believe, like this is a classic case of an aggressive projection. Like you are using an abstract ideology, an abstract identity, an identity that does not exist, identity that does not have a people, does not have a language, does not have a geographical space, does not have a culture, you can continue like that, does not have a history, and then you want to use it to replace a people who have a history. Even during the slavery, there was history of Igbo people. Even there's a story about Igbo landing, where Igbo people who were taken into slavery said they would rather die than be enslaved. We have all this history about Igbo people of Nigeria. Igbo people, before anybody encountered us, they call us Igbo, different type of, adulteration because they couldn't pronounce it. And Igbo people who have a physical space on this earth, a geographical location where they call their home, their ancestral home. Igbo people who have a culture, the way they do things, the way of their life, a culture of how they bury their dead, they name their children, they believe their religion, or how they pray. Igbo people that have a language that they talk with. You want to use something that does not exist to replace it with a people. My people, this is a crime. This is a very huge crime. Think about this thing. This is a crime against Ndi Igbo. There is nobody that is believing Biafra and going over that's supposed to have mouth to talk to anybody that said, I am an Igbo man, I am an Igbo woman. Now you go the change that for them. Say, well, if you say you are Biafra, then go look up the ancient map, and wherever you see the Biafra, go and conquer it and take over it. This is Igbo land. Igbo land belongs to Ndi Igbo. If you are Biafra, go away from Igbo land. Go and look for Biafra land. Possess it. You are free. You are free to go and take Biafra land. You are free to go and possess Biafra land. You are free to go and look for the language you will speak as Onye Biafra. You are free to go and look for the culture you will practice as an Onye Biafra. You are free to go and look for the prayer you are going to be praying as Onye Biafra. The culture you will practice. Your right that you will be doing as Onye Biafra. But we are Ndi Igbo, and we speak Igbo language. And our ancestors bequeathed us an Igbo land, a physical space on the surface of this earth. Every Igbo man comes from a village, comes from a place that his forebears have lived on. The son of this person from so family, for so family, go back, the family is always there. You know, you cannot change that for something that is abstract, something that is according to story, something that even whether it is written in the story book of Bible, it doesn't matter. It's a story. The one way you see, Nkem Jika, what I have is greater than whatever you are projecting. Nke anyị Jika, whatever we have as Ndi Igbo, as Ala Igbo, as Omenala Igbo, as Asụsụ Igbo, is more, is greater than anything anybody can bring and project onto you as a Biafra. Want to use it to replace Ndi Igbo? It's not going to happen. So, my people, recognize this danger of Biafra, this crime, and don't allow it to take millions of lives again. Say no to Biafra and save Igbo land. Say no to Biafra and save Igbo life. Say no to Biafra and save Igbo language. Say no to Biafra and save Igbo culture. Igbo people must rise up against this thing that has come to take away who they are and replace them and displace them. So thank you, my people. Thank you so much for listening to me. I appreciate everyone that sent me stars. I've said what I have to say. If you disagree with me, be polite. You don't have to be insulting. Write your reasons. Let us talk it out. Yeah, it's okay that you can disagree with me, but be polite. Write why you disagree with me. You know? Let us reason it out. Eh? Thank you so much, my people. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night rest.